We've got a really good speaker today in Sanya. Apologies for the slight delay in starting the meeting. We were just sorting out slides. But while we're getting our WORAN slides up, feel free to introduce yourselves on the chat, and I'll introduce myself to the group for those of you who don't know me. So I'm Catherine Kent. I chair the Women in OR and Analytics Network. And in my day job, I work in government operational research, working for the Office for National Statistics. Nice to see quite a few people I recognise, and thank you everyone for putting on your cameras. I've been on calls all morning and saw very few faces, so it's really nice to see a friendly bunch of faces looking back at me, and I'm sure Sanya will appreciate it too when she starts. So we've got a couple of intro slides just to for those of you who are not so familiar with WORAN. So today's session is part of a series. So we always have, we tend to have monthly meetings, which gives an opportunity to meet others, learn from each other, build our networks, and hopefully have a good time. So Ruth, if you move on. That's fabulous. So exciting things to talk about coming up. The land lecture, which will be we hold as close to Ada Lovelace Day as possible, and is in memory of Elsa Land. We have Dame Celia Hoyles talking about mathematical journeys, working in mathematics education. So really looking forward to that, and encourage as many of you to sign up. Also share with your colleagues, friends, etc. As we say, this is one of our key events, and it's also one of the main OR Society lectures as well. Then we're doing something slightly different in November. We've got our lightning talks, which prove ever popular, where we have short, snappy 5-minute talks from people. But this time we're doing it around the regions. So opportunity to hear about the OR work that's going on across the UK. And we're also trialling potentially a hybrid option there. So if you've got a group of people that you want to meet up in your university or your workplace, we're going to run it as a hybrid event, but also, yeah, if you want to be at home logging on, that's absolutely fine too. And then we're likely to have a Christmas social, so plenty to look forward to. So I won't do too much of an introduction for Professor Sandra Pertovic, because she's going to spend a lot of today's session talking about her career journey and what was brought her to being the president of the OR Society. I'd just like to add, though, that she's a professor of operational research at Nottingham University, and she's got specialisms in OR and healthcare, scheduling, manufacturing, and logistics, and looking forward to hearing more. The format of the presentation, we're going to let Sanya talk for about half an hour, and then we'll be opening up for questions. So if you think of some questions, you can write them in the chat if you prefer, or we'll just do like the usual hands up. But during Sanya's presentation, unless there's obvious opportunities where she invites questions, if we save the questions for the end of her presentation, that'll probably be the easiest. Okay, so in that case, I will hand over to Sanya. And I should have said thank you very much to Ruth, who obviously, as usual, as chair of our events committee, has arranged all this and is running all the technical stuff, as well as Karen from the OR Society, who's also very good on all the Zoom stuff. So thanks both.
And can I check what you can see, because I've got 2 screens.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah, full right. Slide. Yeah, great. Thanks, Ruth.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I would like first to thank to Ruth and Catherine for inviting me to give a talk at WORAN. The preparation of this talk was very interesting for me, because I think probably it is the first time that I'm asked to talk about myself, but not for interview purpose. So here is the menu for today. First, I talk a little bit about my career journey to the role of the president of the Operational Research Society and professor of operational research. And then in the second part, I'll give some of my views on the present and future of the WORAN Society. Next slide, please. So first dilemma that I faced was what to add to the title. Because the title, Meet the President, and abstract were given to me, and I used it as a brief on how to prepare my talk. But I wanted to add something to the title. And first, I looked for some motivation in other autobiographies. And the first that came to my mind was autobiography of Mihailo Pupin, who was born in Serbia. I am originally from Serbia. He was born in the mid of 19th century. And the title of his autobiography is From Pastures to a Scientist. That is Serbian version, but he worked in America. He moved to America. And English version of the book is From Immigrant to Inventor. Actually, the book won the Pulitzer Prize in 1924. And Mihailo Pupin, just a couple of words about him. He has a number of patents, but I think he is the best known for his contributions to telecommunications. He greatly extended the range of long-distance telephone communications by placing loading coils of wire at predetermined intervals along the transmitting line. That is known as Pupinization. And the title of his autobiography is very impressive, From Pastures to a Scientist. But I couldn't use that because I was born in Belgrade. That is big city. So I had to delete pastures. Then also I think I come from a country that has a good number of great scientists. Either they were born in Serbia or they were of Serbian nationality. I think the best known among them is Nikola Tesla, who has a number of, large number of inventions. I mentioned here one of them. He contributed to the design of the modern alternating current electrical system. Also, Mihailo Pupin, whom I already mentioned, is well known in telecommunications. Nikola Tesla is considered to be an inventor, while Mihailo Pupin is scientist. What is the difference between the two? Inventors usually have patents, while scientists can have patents, but also they need to have publications. And two of them, they both worked in America, but they were very different characters. But what they have in common is that both of their mothers motivated them, pushed them to get education. Nikola Tesla to get education abroad, even after their schools. Nikola Tesla studied in Graz, now Austria, and Mihailo Pupin studied in Prague, now Czech Republic. And also, they were very devoted to their mothers. Nikola Tesla claimed that he inherited his inventory gifts from his mother. Well, I read somewhere about Mihailo Pupin that he stood up in America whenever somebody mentioned the name of his mother to pay tribute to her. Although both of them were illiterate, but it is not uncommon in mid of 19th century, but they realized the importance of education. I mentioned here some other scientists. I mentioned Milutin Milankovic, who is mathematician, astronomer, climatologist, etc. He developed a mathematical theory of climate. And I also mention one lady here, not because I'm talking in front of WORAN, but I think she really deserves to be mentioned, Mileva Maric, who collaborated with Albert Einstein on the theory of relativity. She was his first wife. She was a very talented mathematician. She was the only female physics student in her class at the Zurich Polytechnic. I have origins from an academic family. Both of my late parents had PhDs, and I have twin sister, whom some of you may know. She also has PhD. So I hope I will not disappoint you. I cannot say that my career journey is an example of from thorns to stars, or in Latin per aspera ad astra, but I had to work hard to reach professorship in operational research and I guess role of the president of the WORAN Society. So next slide, please. Now I have to explain you the title, Magnificent Triangle, Mathematics, Computer Science, and Operational Research. First, I use magnificent. I was inspired by the film Magnificent Seven. It's not that it's my favorite film, but I like the word magnificent. But then I thought it's too much to mention 7 disciplines, so I mentioned 3, mathematics, computer science, and operational research that really characterize my academic journey. And why I put triangle? Because I think lines in triangle connect them. So it's connected. It connects mathematics, computer science, and operational research. So next slide, please. So I got all my qualifications at the University of Belgrade, now in Serbia, at that time in Yugoslavia. And I got them in the Faculty of Mathematics. And within Faculty of Mathematics, there is a computer science and informatics department. So I think it would correspond to joint honors here, mathematics and computer science. So I got a Bachelor of Science degree. It lasted for 4 years. Then I got Master Science. It lasted 2 years and a project or dissertation, and I got PhD. I can say that my education was very much theoretical. And some of my peers and classmates criticized that. But I think that theoretical education gave us a solid ground for reasoning. Only when I completed my undergraduate study, personal computers appeared on the market. They gained in popularity. And only then I started programming. I developed programs in C, C++, Lisp, Prolog, etc. Preparation of this talk actually raised my curiosity of the position of women in education in Serbia. I put here just some facts because it's research on its own, and I don't know much about that, but I found some facts. I found that in 1832, in Belgrade, there were 211 pupils, and 16 out of them were females, girls, which is, I think, a good number for that time period. Women in Serbia gained access to formal education at the end of late 19th and early 20th century, and some female students were sent abroad to study. But still, the rate of literacy among females in the beginning of 20th century was rather low in Serbia. I found, being academic, I found an article, The Professional Emancipation of Women in 19th Century Serbia by Ljubinka Trgovčević, but I would like to find more time to read it carefully, probably after my presidency role. Next slide, please. I entered the fascinating world of WORAN after my study. I worked in a strong research institute, Mihailo Pupin, in Belgrade, named after Mihailo Pupin. It has very good library. And then I started reading papers from EJOR, European Journal of Operational Research, and JORS, Journal of Operational Research Society. And some of you may remember that at that time, you had to borrow hard copy of the journal issue for a given period of time. And I enjoyed reading papers from operational research journals. Then I moved to the UK, to the University of Nottingham. I started my career first in the School of Computer Science, and I started as a lecturer and got promoted to professor there. Then I moved to the business school. Often in the UK, business schools host modules or courses on management science or operational research. I gained some management experience. I listed here 2 of them. Probably my best experience is chairing the UK National Conference in Nottingham, ORAR 53, in 2011. It was a lovely team, 7, 8 of us, and we really enjoyed working together. I also chaired a committee of professors in operational research, COPIOR. The mandate is 4 years. So next slide, please. Now I was thinking how much I use mathematics, computer science, and operational research in my real world. Academics like to use that term real world problems. You like to solve real world problems. I guess for practitioners, every problems are real world, but you like that word term real world. It is handy to use mathematics, especially if you want to calculate quickly the discount given on sales, given as percentage, for example, 10% or 20% of sales. Is handy to calculate that quickly. I also use computer science when I have to make decisions, not just for work, but also in my life. I like to explore all branches that we do when we do programming or when we develop algorithms. We like to use if-then statement, if-then-else statement. And I also use operational research in my life. My research is focused on scheduling and optimization. I like to use scheduling when I do cooking. I like cooking. I like inviting people, guests for meal. And then I have to schedule preparation of my meal. I start backward scheduling, starting from the time when I have guests, in order to have everything ready on time, especially if the meal has to be served hot. But I have to admit, I always need additional minutes. So probably I need to model uncertain time in cooking in a better way. I'm also obsessed with the objective, minimize the time required to perform some task, because time is a very scarce resource for me, as is for many of my colleagues. So I like to optimize the time that I need to type email or even parts of the paper. I started using dictate facility, although the question mark is it better to use dictate that requires time to correct errors and to check the output, or to start typing from scratch? And I would like to develop some smart algorithm to help me to find email or file on in my document folders when I search for a particular email or file. It always takes me ages. Okay, next slide, please, Ruth. Here I will just talk briefly about my research interest. I carried out and led development of models, heuristics, and algorithms for a variety of real-world again, that term, real-world optimization and scheduling problems, including booking appointments, booking of patients' appointments, employee timetabling, vehicle routing problems, integrated hub locations and routing, production scheduling in manufacturing, radiotherapy planning, where the task is to decide on the dose of radiotherapy and the position of beams, university timetabling, and some others. In my research, I usually use optimization methods and meta-heuristics. I use data mining, case-based reasoning, good old AI, multi-criteria decision-making, and multi-objective optimization, fuzzy sets and fuzzy logic to model uncertainty, etc. I like to collaborate with industrial collaborators. I collaborated with some manufacturing companies, with the printing company in Nottingham, with the food company, with the company that produces high precision lenses, etc. And I also love collaborating with healthcare providers, mostly with NHS. And I also like to collaborate with ORAR practitioners. So next slide, please. Now, in the second part of my talk, I will talk about ORAR Society present and give some views on the present and future of ORAR and ORAR Society. I'm very honored to be president of the ORAR Society because ORAR was born in the UK. It is a well-established society. It celebrated its 75th birthday 2 years ago in 2023. It has around 4,000 members in over 50 countries and 13 corporate members currently. It offers a variety of activities to its members. It has well-established and well-attended events, and it has hardworking staff. One of them is here, Karen. Now, I aim to continue with the successful activities of my predecessor, past presidents. One of them is here, Ruth. And Ruth, you were the third female president, if I'm the fourth. And 3 is lucky number. And I was thinking, is 4 lucky number as well? I think it is, because there is 4-leaf clover that brings good luck. But I also consulted Mr. Google, and I found that numerologically, number 4 often symbolizes stability, practicality, and hard work. And these will be my objectives in the remaining, now less than a year and a half of the presidency. Next slide, please. Yes, I just read the message. Yes, we have a second president here, Sue Merchant. Hello, Sue. So I will just briefly describe my main objectives. The first one will be to work on one of the strategic goals of the ORAR Society to further increase the ORAR visibility and value. And I will use healthcare as a vehicle for that. Why healthcare? NHS is our sibling. It celebrated also 75th birthday 2 years ago. And we have a strong community in our society that has successful projects with healthcare providers. But I think there are ample opportunities to do more. on the left side of the slide, you can see some scary figures related to healthcare regarding aging population, regarding the number of people who live with cancer in the UK, and also regarding crises that our GP practices face currently. So I will convene organization of event with Oral Society that we entitled Healthcare Forum, Operational Research Bridges Science and Healthcare. The event is scheduled for 12th of November this year. It will take place in Birmingham. And we would like to bring together decision makers and healthcare providers, NHS, and to bring them together with ORAR academics and ORAR practitioners who are involved in ORAR in healthcare, and to use this event as a showcase of our success stories, and also to use that event as an opportunity to discuss problems relevant to healthcare in which ORAR has not been used or has not been fully used yet. And the format of the event will be different to standard format that are also very useful, but it won't consist of presentations and questions. We will have 3 speakers to give the context of our forum, but then we will have 6 workshops, 3 in parallel, to enable interactive discussion with participants in the event. Ideas for similar events in other ORAR applications are very welcome. So next slide, please. And my second main objective will be to work on strategic goal, another strategic goal of the society, that is ORAR Reach. I would like to establish new links with learned societies or communities from other disciplines. I will start with operations management and supply chain management. And I would like to establish links with 2 of their learned societies, EUROMA, that stands for European Operations Management Association, and EDSI, that stands for European Division of the Decision Sciences Institute, because we tackle the same problems, but from different angles. So I think it will be very beneficial to work with them on the common problems. Next slide, please. Now I will allocate some time to present my vision of the future of the Operational Research and Operational Research Society. I think ORAR has to address to these complex decision-making challenges, but at the same time to stay or to remain scientifically rigorous and technologically relevant. I see the rebirth of AI to be a biggest challenge, but also it gives us opportunities. AI as a scientific discipline was born in around 1950s, and then it went through multiple cycles of popularity and gained again popularity in, I would say, 2020s. And I would like to remind you of traditional AI topics that included reasoning, knowledge representation, planning, machine learning, natural language processing, image recognition, robotics, etc. Now AI has different shape. It affects all spheres of our lives, starting with predictive typing, language translation. My students often use language translation when they talk to me on the meetings. international students. In writing, it helps us in writing reports, decision-making, education as well. I think there is still no consensus on how to use AI in education. Now, I think there are strong links between ORR and AI. But I think that ORR has to carefully identify what the benefits of artificial intelligence are in decision-making and what are the shortcomings of blind use of AI. AI can be used in many lower-level data processing tasks and also some more complex tasks. But I think at the moment there are unrealistic expectations of AI. AI is not panacea, not yet. So the question mark is, can it match humans' creativity? Because I think humans are still needed to define the task. When you want to use generative AI, we need to define the task. We still need to think critically and strategically how to use the data. And the question is, currently, can this be replaced by AI? Next slide, please. ORR has strong links with other disciplines. I will mention data science because data science has been a rising star in the last decade or so. We all witnessed the rapid advances in technology that enables us to generate data, more data than before, to capture data, to store them, and to analyze them. And it helps many organizations. They use that to analyze their market and clients, whatever interpretation of the market and clients are. It can be interpreted also in healthcare environment. But there are many organizations who have a large volume of data and they don't know what to do with them. And they think we can help them in that task. We want to strengthen the network and to offer attractive opportunities to our members of the ORR Society in terms of networking and education, to our members who have special interest in other disciplines, data science in particular. And we have recently launched a connected community to connect with data science under the umbrella of the Operational Research Society. We plan to connect with other disciplines in the future. I think it's also interesting to investigate the balance between data-driven decision-making and instincts. I mentioned here a provocative book, Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking, by Malcolm Gladwell, who argues that great decision makers often rely on intuition or snap judgments. And it raises the discussion whether instinct still plays a role in decision making. Can it complement data-driven approaches? And I would like to encourage discussions and debate about AI and data science and the balance between instinct and data-driven decision-making, and especially relationship between ORR and AI. I think ORR can benefit from AI and data science in the terms that it can help us improve or even revolutionize our methods. And it is good to keep strong collaboration with these communities because there is a big overlap. Next slide, please. I think the last one. So instead of conclusions, I would like to give the statement of Vincent Lombardi, who was actually a coach of a football team in America, who said the only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. So the word success comes before the word work only in the dictionary. I checked whether it holds in Serbian language. It does. I will leave the question open whether it applies to all languages in the world. Maybe we can consult some generative AI to give us answer for that. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'll be happy to receive any question, feedback, or comment. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Sanja, for taking us through your career journey and your aspirations while you're president. Yeah, as I said, anyone's welcome to put their hand up if they'd like to ask a question, or put the question in the chat if you prefer it if me or Ruth read out your question for you. But I'm going to kick us off because I don't see any hands yet. I'm really interested, Sanja, in either your motivation or what drove you to go for the OR Society presidency role, whether that was something that you saw, you know, when you've been in your academic life and you perhaps when you organised the OR Society conference, you had your sort of mind ahead of thinking, oh, I could go for presidency, or whether it was like a more of a happy accident. I was just interested to hear a bit more about what got you towards becoming president.
I was nominated, actually approached and asked if I would like to consider that role. And I spent some time thinking about that nomination. After my graduation, I started doing research in operational research, and I regularly attend conferences, including national UK conference and also Euro conference. And in this conference in Leeds, one of the past presidents had a very interesting exercise. She asked the audience to remain standing if they attended one conference, two conferences, and I think it was 20-something conferences, and they stayed. I stood up for a long period of time. So I realized how many conferences, Euro conferences I attended, and I also attended a large number of national UK conferences. And I think it was a nice opportunity to contribute further to the operational research in the UK. And I have to say, I was especially proud that ORAR was founded in the UK. Even when I work in Serbia, we looked at UK as a founder. We celebrate UK as a founder of the ORAR. So that was my motivation to take up this role.
Yeah, great. Thank you. No, really interesting that you were sort of approached, you know, encouraged to apply, because we see that a lot with women, stereotypically, that they often don't put themselves for these sorts of roles. They often, women sort of think, well, not yet, or I don't have quite the right amount of experience, or those sorts of things. So but a little bit of encouragement often does bring them forward. So I think there's lessons to be learned there in terms of, it's really good that like people within the OR Society were encouraging people to apply as well, because it's sort of, you know, it shows that we are recognizing that may be a bit of a sort of invisible barrier, unconscious decision. So it's great.
I was lucky that I served as vice president in 2 mandates, and I learned a lot from the past presidents, how they chaired the meetings, what activities were expected, etc.
Great.
So
That's
I
good.
would like to continue their work that may be considered to be business as usual, but the question mark is, what is business as usual in this ever-changing world? So there are more and more challenges, and we have to adapt as a society to these challenges.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll go to my list.
If nobody else,
So we have a question from Francis. Oh, but Joe, did you want to come in first? Sorry, Joe, you've come off mute.
okay. Yeah, Sonia, I really enjoyed your talk, and it was interesting because it made me reflect on my own background of having theoretical, studies with OR in my degree, and I too have gravitated around data science. I've gone into project management now. And it just made me think about OR as a change tool. Once people have got the techniques of OR, they can adapt them to various situations. Now, I teach project management, I teach data science, and I teach females and males. And I just wondered what you thought about whether you think, it's quite a controversial sort of women sort of question, really. Do you think women actually have that adaptability better? Because I often find with the students I teach, I'm being general here, but sometimes the females will grab the data science, will grab the project management, will grab sort of pseudo OR, even though they're not math students, and they'll come out with what they think are completely bizarre ideas. And sometimes the male students will say, well, yeah, but we've got to use these techniques and we've got to use these processes. I wonder if, you'd experience something like that. Of course, there's always the middle group as well that, they do both. But I wondered if you saw OR as a change management tool as well.
Interesting observation. I have to say, I haven't experienced that so far. Now, the question is whether generally females are more adaptable, or does it just...
I said it was controversial, so don't worry.
I think both are equally capable for
Yeah.
maths, computer science, and operational research.
It may link, as you mentioned in your talk, with the perhaps smaller number previously of females. I think we're seeing, perhaps an equal balance now. But it's something, I make sure when I'm grouping students together that I have a balance in all groups. So, to counterbalance any of that aspect.
Yeah, I do the same when I have to group students for in my master course. I like to have balance in terms of gender, countries that they come from, because I think it's always good to mix them to do the work together, but also to hear about other countries and cultures, etc. Although the other option is to please them and then to say form groups yourself, and then to group remaining students. But I can witness that females are given more and more roles, although I think the criteria number 1 should be the capability of presenter, researcher, whatever. But I think it's good to give opportunities equally to females and males. Let's not make them disadvantaged.
Great. No, thank you. I think that's a really good observation, Joe. I don't think it's particularly controversial. I think it's good to talk about these sorts of things. So thanks for bringing it up, and something we can take forward. All of us can sort of start thinking about that as well, those observations. Okay, Francis, we had a question from Francis in the chat. Sanya, what's sort of been, I'm paraphrasing, but what sort of, have you had any obstacles that you've had to overcome in your career?
Obstacles, obviously, I wouldn't call them obstacles, but it is a change to move from one country to another. Although culturally, it was not that big change, apart from driving on different sides of the road. But I started lecturing for the first time in the UK. I worked in a research institute that was a member of the University of Belgrade, but not involved in teaching. So we had consultancy and research projects. So that was the first challenge for me, because the education changed pretty much. Even it has changed since I started my role as a lecturer. We use now computers in presentations. We record our lectures. When I joined the university, we use overhead projectors. And I had to learn the rules. I remember on one of my first lectures, I invited one student to do something on the whiteboard, and he accepted it. Later on, I was told, usually you don't do that at universities. So the way of delivering lectures changed considerably since I was a student everywhere, not just in the UK. But I have standard obstacles, but not really obstacles. There are more challenges to learn how to write research papers, how to write projects for external, or how to bid for projects for external funding. But I would not call them obstacles, really. There are more challenges. And I think one learns all the time. Even the way that we write papers changed considerably from the past. What is good to mention in research projects, etc. There are challenges, but not really obstacles. It doesn't really answer the question, because I can quickly identify challenges, but obstacles, not immediately present in my mind.
Ruth, did you want to come in with your hand up?
Well, I can see you've got 2 more questions in the chat. So
I'm going to leave Xiaochen for the last.
I'll just say very quickly, but don't answer this question now, Sanya, and we'll come back to it if there's time for it. But I wonder if you only see obstacles if you're heading somewhere. So if you knew you wanted to be a professor by year X and there were problems getting there, you would notice they were obstacles. But if you're not heading somewhere, if you're taking things as they come, then it is, as you say, it's challenges, and you're meeting one challenge after another. So I just throw that into the chat, because I think, again, it goes for a lot of people, but more for women, is that you don't realize there's somewhere to go. You can't. So that's, but as I say, there are people who've been waiting longer to ask you questions in the chat. So we'll come back to that only if there's time.
Yes, but
Thanks, Ruth.
I agree with you. I didn't put a target deadline for professorship at all. Generally, I take opportunities. I was actually motivated by my line manager to apply for professorship, because I was thinking maybe I need more external funding, although I had enough for professorship. I heard on some of the previous meetings that females sometimes think that they need more results, more outputs for certain titles or levels. I don't know whether I belong to that group, probably.
Interesting observation. Yeah, I think that's come up a lot in the past. Cool. Yeah, I've got a couple of more questions. So Sue's asked, what have you enjoyed most about the president role? Do we do that one first?
Yes, I'll be very honest with you. So far, I enjoyed tremendously the lunch that past presidents of the Oral Societies organize for the new president. It takes place in London, and they felt so special. People were so friendly that I have to say that was so far the best event. I enjoyed other events, of course, but that was probably number one. I hope I will be able to tell more about that healthcare forum event, because that is something that I haven't done before, that type of event. So I hope that I'll be able to tell you more about it after the event.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yes, and I've got a question from Xiaochen, who led a very interesting WORAN session for us a few months ago, where she brought a panel together where they talked about what they wish they'd learnt at the start of their career. And she's asked a very similar question to you. So what advice would you give to an early career researcher?
Just a second, please. I have a message that my battery is running low now.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. So what piece of advice would you give to someone as an early career researcher?
First, hard work is always important. There is always an element of luck, but you need hard work. And element of luck in the sense that you should use arising opportunities. But I think it's good to learn from the colleagues, from peers. I always learned from colleagues, from past presidents of the society and other researchers. To do networking, it's good to make an effort to approach potential collaborators, be it industrial collaborator or healthcare provider or any other possible collaborator, and to enjoy the work, to find research area that you like and to enjoy the work.
Great, thank you very much. We've got 3 minutes left before I let you go. So if there's any last burning questions, or we wanted to have more of an open discussion on anything that anyone's heard, any reflections? Someone put their hand up, but I missed it.
No, it was only me.
Oh.
If anybody else wants to go first, I just want to come back to being offered the presidency, Sonia. Were you not at all tempted to say, oh no, I couldn't possibly?
I was thinking, because it's a big decision, so I didn't say yes immediately. But I was thinking, UK was the founder of the Oral. It is a great honor. And I thought it is well-established society, so it makes a difference. And there is hardworking staff, and I thought, let's give it a go, let's try it.
And presumably you would give similar advice to anybody else who, when they're asked to do something that pushes them slightly out of their comfort zone, you don't immediately say, I think you've got the wrong person, you meant to ask somebody else.
Yes, I think it's good to take some challenges, to use your previous experience and to also collaborate with other people to achieve your goals as a chair of everything, really.
Excellent. No, thank you for that, Sonia. So we're pretty much at time now. So if we could just all give Sonia a round of applause for speaking with us. I was just, while we're doing that, I was very surprised when you opened and said that you'd not been asked to talk about yourself before, because, you know, I'm very surprised that people have missed out. It was a very good opportunity to hear about your career history and all the things you've worked on. So
only
thank you
for
for putting that
interview
presentation
purpose,
together.
Catherine, only for interview purpose. But I was thinking it's more interesting to talk about other scientists, but not for too much, because I guess you wanted to hear about me. But
exactly, no, exactly, but obviously, clearly, you've done a lot of reflection to put together that presentation. So that came across. So thanks again. Fabulous. So yes, well, thanks everyone for joining and those questions, and hopefully we'll see you at Land Lecture. Or at another event, or at some future meetup. Maybe some of us might go along to Sonia's healthcare workshop as well. So might see some familiar faces in the future. But thanks again for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers then. Bye all.
thank you. Bye.
Bye.